Hey, I'm Brian from BrianKeithFitness.com, qualified personal trainer and nutritionist. Do you struggle with cravings or the afternoon munchies? Here's some reasons why. 1. Blood sugar levels are dropping as you get closer to lunchtime. When it comes to afternoon munchies or cravings during the day, you'll regularly find that if you're riding a blood sugar roller coaster because of your food choice in the morning or a lack of food in the morning, you're going to get this blood sugar dip in mid-afternoon, and that's going to lead to those afternoon munchies where you've got severe cravings. The good news is it's very easy to fix. Firstly, you make a good quality nutritional choice first thing in the morning. Certain foods like traditional breakfast cereals that put a massive rise in your blood sugar levels tend to leave you with the craving later on in the day as your blood sugar levels start to plummet down and you feel you need another fix to get your energy levels up. Something similar can happen with skipping meals and rushing out the door first thing in the morning and not making any food choice there. Now, this isn't to be confused with intermittent fasting, which is a very strategic approach to missing meals so that you can fit all of your food into a specific eating window. I'm talking skipping meals here because you're rushing out the door because you've slept in or just because you don't feel hungry. So if you find that's happening to you, I would definitely recommend experimenting with some food choice in the morning, particularly something quite high fiber or high protein. If you like breakfast, some scrambled eggs, or maybe a protein smoothie. If you're on the go, maybe a protein shake and an apple. And there's a load of other alternatives that you can use. But get something into that first meal because you'll find that your cravings won't be as high later on in the day then, because your blood sugar levels will be way more stable. Number 2, you may be physically and mentally tired from a hectic morning. If you've had a particularly stressful morning, working toward the deadline, maybe doing a workout where you didn't have a meal after, you're going to find that your cortisol levels are so high, and that will suppress hunger temporarily. So you won't feel like you need food. But then as soon as the morning's over and you start coming into lunchtime, you feel like you could eat somebody out of house and home. Again, this comes down to what your morning routine looks like. Do you need to practice some mindfulness or meditation midway through the morning so that you don't feel particularly stressed at lunchtime? Do you need to look at your post-workout meal so that you're nutritionally recovering after your session so that you don't get that slump in the afternoon? Figure out what the issue is and put a plan in place around it. Number 3, you're stressed and anxious and looking for a pick-me-up. This heavily ties in with point 2. If you're feeling stressed and anxious, you tend to make poor food choices. So you need to uncover, well, why am I feeling stressed and anxious? What's going on in the morning that's leading me to have those afternoon munchies? Is it a work deadline? Is it from skipping a meal? Is it from not looking at your post-workout nutrition? What's causing you to feel stressed and anxious? During my teaching practice, every time we'd have an examiner come in to watch me teach, I wouldn't be able to eat for that entire morning. I'd wake up in the morning and I would just feel this knot in my stomach and I wouldn't be able to eat anything until I had my teaching observation lesson. And then as soon as that was done, I could eat you out of house and home. And I was craving the most carby foods and sugary foods to help with that pick-me-up. It's just a basic cortisol dump. You're feeling stressed and anxious, hunger goes down, appetite is suppressed, trigger for the stress goes away, your body starts to go back to normal, and your cravings go way up. If I could go back, I'd probably look at my nutrition and have something small in the morning just to keep me tying over. Or I would look at my stress management techniques, whatever it is that would help me feel less anxious and less stressed. And I advise you to do the same. Number 4, you've restricted yourself throughout the day. Now this normally comes when you're in a diet, where a lot of people think that I'll just skip breakfast or I'll just skip the meals in the morning. That'll help me with my weight loss goal. Not realizing that an overall calorie deficit is what helps you with your weight loss or fat loss goal. And then 3 p.m. rolls around and they're starving. And they end up eating more calories for the next 2 or 3 hours than they would have if they just had breakfast and lunch earlier in the day. Don't be that person. Don't massively restrict because you're not going to be able to stick to that over the long term. Number 5, you didn't have a balanced breakfast or lunch. Now you might be somebody who does have breakfast and lunch every single day, but you still find that your cravings and afternoon munchies take hold every 3 or 4 p.m. This is when your food choices play a big role. It's not the food that fills the gap. It's the quality of food that's going to fill the gap. So if you find yourself having something like cornflakes in the morning, then a piece of toast with maybe a banana at lunchtime, of course you're going to be starving come the middle of the day. Not only are you riding that blood sugar roller coaster, but your calories were probably a little bit too low as well. And the nutrients in those foods were too low for the most part. And as a result, your body's craving something else at 3 p.m. So look at your food choices. High quality breakfast, a protein source, and maybe some fiber. Porridge, scrambled eggs, protein pancakes, whatever you enjoy. And lunch is similar. Something that'll sustain you. Whole grain bread and some chicken. A chicken salad with olive oil. Sweet potato stir fry. All really good options based on your lifestyle and based on your personal preference. If you make those changes, you're going to find that your cravings are considerably lower later in the day. And finally, point number 6. You've had way too much coffee and not enough water. Similar to my story on teaching practice, I would fuel my mornings of observations with coffee. I could drink 6 or 7 cups in the time before an observation. Not only is this terrible and completely burns out your adrenals, it's a really bad habit to get into. Not only that, but if you're not drinking water alongside it, you're going to find that you're a little bit dehydrated as well. And that comes with its own host of problems. So don't use coffee or stimulants to get through that afternoon slump. And the way you do that is by making good food choices early on, being consistent with your stress management techniques. And then if you want to have a coffee or a tea because you love it and enjoy it and you like to pick me up, but you don't need it and you just want it, that's the way to approach caffeine and coffee and tea and stimulated drinks in general. There are 6 reasons why you might have afternoon munchies or cravings in the middle of the day. I know there are way more other factors that play a role in this, so if I've missed any out, let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe for videos coming each and every week.